Sir. Sir. Robert Kingston's voice cracked as he sprinted across the parking lot in a $2,000 suit, chasing a man in a faded blue windbreaker who was carrying nothing but a cardboard box. Every employee at the window went silent. Because the man chairman of one of the largest companies on earth was chasing down the janitor's help desk guy they just fired an hour ago. Nobody in that building had the slightest idea who Ethan Cole really was. And in 10 minutes, neither will you be ready for it. Rewind 6 hours. The cardboard box nearly slipped from Ethan Cole's trembling hands as he walked out of the towering glass building where he had spent the last 5 years quietly working. Inside it, a small family photograph, a tiny green plant his daughter had given him for Father's Day, and a worn notebook of sketches nobody had ever been allowed to read. Employees clustered near the windows, whispering like he'd committed a crime. No one noticed the tears in his eyes. No one noticed the little girl smiling beside him in that photograph. And absolutely no one knew that the quiet single dad they just fired was one of the wealthiest men in the country. If you believe kindness matters more than status, and that everyone deserves a second chance, hit like, share this with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Where Hearts Meet for more stories that stay with you. Ethan had never cared about titles, luxury cars, or tailored suits. Years earlier, he'd built one of the world's most successful tech companies alongside his best friend. But after the money came, tragedy came faster. His wife, Claire, passed away after a long illness, leaving him alone with their newborn daughter, Mia. The grief hollowed him out. Money meant nothing anymore. The board begged him to stay involved. He handed the company to trusted executives and vanished from public life, choosing a quiet existence where he could raise his daughter without an audience. Reporters spent years hunting for the mysterious founder who'd disappeared. Nobody found him. He changed his look, took an ordinary desk job, and lived like anyone else, because he wanted Mia to grow up knowing humility, not headlines. Every morning he made her breakfast, fumbled through braiding her hair, and walked her to school before clocking in. His co-workers only knew him as the reserved guy who skipped every happy hour and left at exactly 5 o'clock. Some mocked his old car. Others pitied the single dad. Ethan never said a word back. Then the company brought in a new regional manager, Victor Hale. Victor believed success belonged only to the loud and the ambitious. Ethan's quiet nature grated on him from day one. One rainy afternoon, Mia got sick at school. Ethan got the call and rushed out immediately. Victor saw him leave, and never bothered asking why. The next morning, he humiliated Ethan in front of the whole staff meeting, calling him uncommitted, a burden, dead weight. Ethan tried to explain. Victor talked over him. Employees stared at the floor. Nobody spoke up. Minutes later, Victor handed him a termination letter. Ethan packed his desk in silence and thanked people on his way out. Genuinely. Outside, he sat on a bench, staring at the photo of Mia, memories flooding in, Claire's smile, Mia's first steps, the promise he'd made to stay strong no matter what. He took a breath and smiled, sadly. That's when the black car pulled up. Robert Kingston, chairman of Cole Dynamics, the company Ethan had founded and walked away from, stepped out in a panic. He'd been searching for years, and he'd finally tracked him down, only to arrive just in time to see him sitting on a bench with a cardboard box. Inside the building, CEO Alina Brooks arrived for a surprise inspection and felt the tension the second she stepped through the doors. Someone mentioned a quiet employee had just been let go. Someone else mentioned the motorcade outside. Alina looked through the glass, and stopped breathing. Executives were surrounding the fired man like he was royalty. One of them was Robert Kingston himself. She rushed outside just in time to hear Robert say the word, "Sir." The whole entrance froze. Employees gathered, confused and afraid. Victor went pale. Alina turned to him, voice shaking. "Who fired him?" Nobody answered. Nobody moved. Finally, someone pointed at Victor, whose hands wouldn't stop trembling. Robert quietly told them the truth: Ethan Cole wasn't just wealthy. He was the founder of one of the largest technology companies on the planet, worth well over $12 billion. Gasps spread through the crowd. Phones nearly hit the pavement. Victor looked ready to collapse. Ethan just sat there, calm, no anger, only sadness. Alina felt sick with shame. How many times had she walked past him without a nod? How much had the company lost by judging a man on his haircut and his silence? Ethan stood, looked at the building one last time, and said something that stopped everyone cold: being rich never made him happier. The best moments of his life were making breakfast for his daughter, reading her bedtime stories, hearing her laugh. He said people judge too fast, without knowing what someone's carrying: grief, single parenthood, invisible pain. Everyone deserves a little kindness. Victor dropped to his knees, begging forgiveness, admitting he'd assumed wealth always looked expensive and power always demanded the room's attention. Ethan helped him up and said quietly, "Forgiveness is easier than hatred. Hatred only makes more pain." Victor broke down completely. A few days later, Ethan did something nobody expected. He bought the struggling company back, and fired no one. Instead, he built programs for single parents, flexible schedules, scholarships for employees' kids. The whole culture shifted. Managers softened. People looked out for each other. For the first time, it actually felt like a family in there. Months later, at the company's annual celebration, little Mia stood next to her father in a bright blue dress, holding his hand, beaming. The room applauded. Victor now runs the company's charity arm, and tells anyone who'll listen that meeting Ethan changed his life. As the night wound down, Mia hugged her dad tight and whispered that her mom would be proud of him. Ethan looked up at the night sky, eyes wet. For years he believed the hole Claire left could never close. Now he understood: pain can break you, but kindness can slowly put you back together. Before you go, if you were Ethan, would you have chosen revenge, or forgiveness? Tell us below. And if this one got you, like it, share it, and subscribe to Where Hearts Meet, because